Welcome back to Fireside Chats, week number 6 with SS Grandma. To start off today, we're going to talk about the discovery of what we call the 500.
Okay. Well, I don't know why, but I was always reading the want ads in the paper. And one Sunday I was sitting there reading the want ads, and I saw $29 an acre, and I looked and looked again, and I said, "Look at this." And Stan said, "What's that?" I said, $29 an acre. He said, "What? Where?" And I said, "I don't know, but it's almost 500 acres, 487, $29 an acre." He said, "Anything's worth $29 an acre." So let's call up the real estate guy. So we did in San Luis Obispo. And he told Stan a little more. Stan said, "Well, we're going to come up and see it." So he made an appointment with him. And that must have been close to noon. And we piled the kids in the car and drove up 3 hours to see it. And we saw it by the time we got to the real estate man, and he drove us out there. It was practically dark. So Stan said, "Anything is worth that." So we made an offer on it. He took it. So we bought it, and that's how we got it. And I'm sure he was thinking, "Oh boy, I can probably shoot some deer out here," or something like that. But $29 an acre, but to me it was just all hills and rocks and trees. But I thought, okay. So I'm glad that everybody's enjoying it now. And several times I thought we should sell it, but all the boys and men say, "No, Grandma." I say, "Okay, it belongs to them." But the girls, only Tiffany was the one that really wanted to go out there. The others said, "We'll go shopping. You go out to the 500. So, let's see, where was I going with that? Anyhow, that was how we got the 500, $29 an acre. I think it's really only 487, but close enough.
Did Grandpa ever try to build anything out there?
At first he thought, let's build our house out here. And I just looked at him and said, "If you think I'm going to drive 2 hours to the store or to church, you are out of your mind." So and that ended that. But someday, of course, somebody will build a cabin out there.
Did Grandpa ever try to put a stake in the land or anything to mark it?
He might have, but I really don't know, because I didn't go out that often. And the ladies just, it wasn't that great. There was no running water, and there was not even a bathroom until they finally built one when Tiffany started to go out. And then when the fire came a few years later, it burned down. So someday we'll have some comforts out there, I'm sure.
We'll get some comforts out there for sure.
The great Uncle Mark asked about the choir days and the choir fun and choir potlucks. Tell us more about that.
Well, I'd always been in a school choir, church choir, and enjoyed it. So after Stan came home in one piece from overseas, and we got a little house in Watts in LA while he started teaching, I joined the choir at the church, and I enjoyed it, and so I just kept singing in the choir. And as we moved around, I would join the choir. So when we moved up to Rolling Hills, and we were at St. Margaret Mary's, I sang in the choir. It was a very good one. Well, I eventually moved up to a directing position, because I'd been there quite a while, and I guess they thought I could direct. I never had a lesson in it, or a singing lesson, but I had a loud voice. When I was in nursing and we'd come out for morning mass singing a hymn, Sister would grab me by the arm and say, "You stay here and sing till the end." "But I'll be late for duty, Sister." "No, you won't. I'll give you an excuse." And so I'd sit there and bellow out the hymn until everybody was out of church, then go on duty. So anyhow, when they asked me to direct, I thought, well, all right. But I went to junior college that summer and took a class in directing. And I enjoyed it very much. It's a lot of fun to stand out there and just go and wait and tell everybody when to go soft and when to go loud and sing along with them. So I ended up being the choir director at St. Margaret Mary for almost 25 years. Well, it got to be a big family thing because all of them had families. Mary Louise, my organist, had 7. We had 7. So we started having a choir potluck at the end of the year when we quit for the summer. And it got to be fun. Everybody would bring food, and all the kids would come. And of course, we had horses and a lot of room, so it was at our house. And the kids just had a ball. They were riding the horses and running around. And we ended up having a big volleyball game up by the barn with the little kids and the big kids and the men and the women, and having a wild volleyball game and all the food. But we soon learned not to let the kids help themselves with food, because soon there'd be just plates of food here and there. And when the adults came to get the food, there wasn't any. So we learned to say, each adult take your child and see that they get a certain amount of food, but not too much. Some of the kids' eyes were bigger than their stomachs. But it turned out to be a yearly thing, and we all enjoyed it and had a good time. So it was since Dan was active in the parish, I was active in the parish, and of course the kids were going to school there and then on to Bishop Montgomery. It was just a fun thing and a great thing that everybody really enjoyed.
Well, the great-grandkids can't get enough of your childhood days, and I understood at one point you were a toe dancer, and that maybe that's why you got your name TuTu, although I hear that's not the case.
Not quite. No, I picked up the name TuTu when we went on one of our first very vacations to Hawaii, and we saw all the Hawaiian grandmothers dancing, and they said, these are the tutus, and I said, that's Hawaiian for grandma. And about that time, I think Sally had either Peter or Esther when we got home. I said, you can all call me TuTu. So that's how come the Williamson kids call me TuTu. And my mother got me into dancing because during the Depression in the park and different places, they were giving little dancing lessons and things like that for the children. And so she got me into that, and she made my little, they call them tutus also, my little red tutu, and bought me toe shoes and ballet shoes, and I really enjoyed it. I have some pictures in the book of me and my little tutu standing on my toes. And if you think standing on your toes is easy, it's not. Very hard. But Ellen, it was really funny. When she was a little kid, I looked at her one day, and she was actually walking on her toes. So she would have been a good toe dancer. Oh, and Chloe, I forgot to say last time what Grandma did. I didn't have a bicycle, but we had roller skates. Now, our roller skates are not with shoes like they have today. They were little iron things that you could adjust and clamp on your shoes, and you could open them up to be bigger, widen them up to be wider, and tighten them with this little key. And if you didn't tighten them good on your shoes, you could lose it while you were skating. But we used to skate up and down the sidewalks, and we were pretty good skaters. It was fun, a lot of fun. And in fact, I was telling Peter, during the war, you saw people skating to work, and that was because they didn't have the gas for the cars, because it was all going overseas to our soldiers and needed the gas. So a lot of people skated to work during World War II. But I can still skate because I've gone to a birthday party for some of the grandchildren at the skating rink way back. And I was just whizzing around that skate rink. My grandkids, probably Brandon or Rita, Grandma, how can you do that? But I'd done it when I was 5 and 6 and 9. It's a fun thing to do.
Not too many bikes around in those times, so the roller blades or the skates were
No,
less expensive.
It wasn't like the hockey. It didn't have that kind. It was just up and down the sidewalks. It was a fun thing kids did. And you could afford a pair of skates usually. The Depression.
Right, thank you for joining us for week number 6 by the fire with SS Gam Gam. We'll be back next week for more stories.